Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. This is a legally constituted meeting of the Town of Chi-Li Planning Board. The legal notice of this meeting has been posted in the Gates Chi-Li News and on the bulletin board in the front vestibule of the Town Hall. Please silence or turn off all your pagers and phones, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In the event of an emergency, please use the exits in the front and the rear of the room. We will proceed with the agenda in the order it was published unless otherwise stated. When called, please proceed to the podium. State your name, and if you are representing an applicant, indicate the applicant's name. Review the details of the application. Planning board members and side table participants will address questions and concerns to the applicant or the representative. For the public hearing portion of the meeting, anyone wishing to comment on the application will be heard. If you wish to speak, please wait to be recognized by the chairperson. Stand, state your name and address for the record. Please speak so all can hear your comments and address all comments and questions to the planning board chair. I will now introduce the board members and the side table participants. To my far left is Joe Defendis, Matt Emmons, Al Hellaby has been excused. I am Mike Nyan. To my right is Keith Bozak, Hans Lindenhovis, and Mike Leone. At our side table, our town engineer is Michael Hanscom. Our building department manager is Paul Wanzenried, and our planning board counsel is Matt Piston. Our recording secretary tonight is Sandra Hewlett. The first three applications for the public hearing are the application of Passero Associates, Trevor Hout, P.E., 242 West Main Street, Suite 100, Rochester, New York, 14614. Applicant, Chi-Li Development Group, LLC, Joe Gizzi, 3850 Buffalo Road, Rochester, New York, 14624 owner, for a preliminary subdivision approval, 3 parcels into 5 parcels, property located at 3235, 3249, 3253 Chi-Li Avenue in a GB district. Also, the same applicant and owner for a preliminary site plan approval to construct 3 commercial buildings, 3235, 3249, 3253 Chi-Li Avenue in the GB district, and also the same applicant and owner for a special use permit to allow outdoor dining, property located at 3235, 3249, 3253 Chi-Li Avenue in the GB district.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Handouts for the board.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to flip it manually. Are you? Yeah. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Trevor Hout with Passero Associates here representing Joe Gizzi and Chi-Li Development Group, LLC. We've attended the past 2-month planning board meetings to keep the board updated with the progress of the project as a whole. Here at the 311 planning board, we're going to treat this as a workshop. Some involved agencies with the 239M coordinated review, including Monroe County Soil and Water, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, CSX, Railroads, and New York State DEC, have not responded yet to the lead agency authorization of the planning board. Due to this, we request to be tabled tonight with no board action requested. So town engineer comments have been addressed and considered. We were able to address all the comments. A hard copy and digital package of the Phase 1 final and preliminary overall civil plan sets have been prepared as attachments to the town engineer comment response letter. This delivery will be made tomorrow in time for the Thursday review meeting we have scheduled with Supervisor Dunning, Public Works Commissioner Dave Lindsay, and some other interested members. So Phase 1 final proposes a subdivision action of creating one lot for Starbucks and consolidating the remaining lands. It's the third sheet in your package I gave out. Basically shows that for this final Phase 1, we just need the one lot. We'll consolidate everything else into Lot 2, and we're showing that future right-of-way line. So, that we still are seeking preliminary approval for the 4-lot subdivision, with the 5th lot being the right-of-way. However, the first map that we file will look like what we have provided. So we received comments from the planning board on 211, and they were considered as follows. So showing turning movements for the drive-throughs, fire trucks, and dump trucks. These turning movement diagrams will be attached to the town engineer comment response letter and show adequate circulation. So another comment we got is if we're not extending the road in Phase 1, that we should consider extending the sidewalk. We feel in the interest of public safety that the area will be an active construction zone and that a sidewalk is not appropriate due to the construction activities that will occur in the future. It's just not a safe environment. It'll basically have construction fencing around it until the time the road is dedicated. Sightline triangles exiting onto Chili Ave. So we did submit to the DOT Perm 33 COM plan set and did receive a permit tracking number. That correspondence will be included in the town engineer response letter, and there's adequate site distance and no obstructions at that exit onto Chili Ave. We're coordinating with the fire marshal on the comment on including an extra hydrant. And then we're exploring the most effective way, to consider the construction of the water main. Whether that can be looped, we're exploring those options. I know that was a request. So, we're looking at economics, and we'll keep you guys updated with that. The county asked to look at updating the bus shelter. Might be worth matching the development. So as we continue down and get past this Phase 1 Starbucks building, and we continue down that Chili Ave corridor, the bus shelter upgrade will be looked at and coordinated as the development advances. So the biggest thing was the building facade. That's what we heard at the last meeting. The elevation Chili Avenue needs to look like a front. We had a effective meeting with the Architectural Review Board at 6 o'clock this evening before this meeting. We went over the new building elevations that were delivered to the town last week. If you guys got a full-size copy, you guys have 11 by 17 in the packet I handed out. I'll just pull that up for you. So we heard, that the design presented last week was too dark and that needed to tie into the classic Federalist look that kind of was associated with that Chili Ave corridor with the Bank of Castile building, the Monroe Muffler brick building, and the new Taco Bell building. So we did update that. We got some really great comments from the AEC, and we'll be revising this even further. But please feel free to comment on those elevations tonight with me. And then, as I said, we're consulting with Dave Lindsay, the Supervisor of Public Works, on the phasing of the dedicated roadway. So a meeting is scheduled for Thursday, 3/13, with Supervisor Dunning to discuss the details of this. So the town engineer comment letter included, widening some drive aisles to 24 feet. And then the Public Works Commissioner also wanted to make adjustments to the proposed drainage easement. There was a 30-foot drainage easement around a large storm pipe that was installed through the development. So what that led to was a stepping of the eastern end cap forward about 6 feet. It does give the building some depth and some interest, and we're going to keep working with the Commissioner of Public Works to make sure that his storm easement requirements are satisfied. So as far as schedule goes, on April 8th, we would meet with AAC again. We'll be able to submit before that meeting and address all the comments, have it coordinated with Starbucks and the developer so that we can have a final building for approval. And that would happen on April 8th. And then the planning board, we would meet again on April 8th, and we'd be seeking our seeker negative declaration and our preliminary final site plan approval and subdivision approvals and the special use permit. Those would be conditioned on the variances granted at the April 22nd ZBA meeting. And then a placeholder for May 13th in case we need to wrap anything up.
You just want final on phase one, though.
Yes, final phase one.
Overall preliminary.
Overall
Final
preliminary.
phase one.
Yes, sir. And then same with the subdivision, final for the phase one subdivision, preliminary for the overall. And with that, I'd like to open it up to any questions or any comments that the developer might want to make. No? Okay.
Joe?
We did have as Trevor pointed out, a productive meeting tonight at 6 o'clock at the AAC. Just to hit some of the highlights for you guys, we were able to actually dive into quite a bit of detail because there's a lot more here since last month, so thanks to the Pastro team and Mr. Gizzi. Just the high points, we talked about the north and south elevation essentially almost to be flipped. That north elevation is the one that's fronting Chili Avenue, so we asked them to kind of look at the height differences there, similar to what they've done in the south elevation. We asked them to look at rooftop screening. Even though you'll see in the south elevation, they played with some height there, so they're going to model that to see what that looks like with hiding some of those rooftops. We just asked them to come back with potentially something shown there graphically, and so we can talk about the materiality and size of those in location the next meeting. We still had trouble with the wood features on the two drive-through ends, and also on the north elevation. So they're going to take a look at that. Some different materials. One of the other things we talked about is the modern-looking sconces. We weren't really fond of those. They're going to look at some other lighting options like gooseneck lights, et cetera, so they'll come back with some cut sheets and some options there. We all unanimously agreed that the south elevation, the Starbucks piece, that third of the building, has the best details and was the most developed. So we asked them to take a harder look at that and see how that could be translated to the other elevations and the other tenant spaces. So they're going to take a look at that. And those are the high points. And we dove into some other details, but I think between Dustin and Trevor, you guys took pretty good notes, so should be good to go. That's all I've got right now.
Thank you. Progress looks good on the elevations for the building. Quick question, will you have air handling units or any kind of units on the roof, and will they be
Yeah, they'll be
protected so they're not
roof-mounted HVAC, and as Matt said, we're looking at the rooftop screening,
Okay.
with the playing with different heights, and also, what our finished inside floor-to-ceiling height wants to be. We're going to deep dive into that and have some solutions.
Okay. Do you expect to be done with that at the next meeting for, want to get
I would
final?
say so, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. I don't have any other questions on the plan. I think it looks pretty, what we've been looking at.
Yeah, overall, looks good. I agree. I like how this is developing in terms of the architectural elevations. Just more of a question about signage. So, you go to a lot of different towns, and, the one thing that this is so kind of fronted on the street, and just how the signs will be lit. Are they going to be the backlit signs, or kind of lit with, lighting from below, or, are these going to be flat signs that are going to be lit, have an idea
Starbucks
of-
would be backlit. And then, depending on what other, brands move in, we'd probably prefer the backlit. And channel letter.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, just curious more. It's a curiosity. And then one final question that I did have on where the main street's going to terminate. And we might have asked this before, and forgive me if I'm asking a question I ask, it's just a memory thing. And where Main Street ends, there's going to be some type of barrier there that indicate that they'll know to not turn into that area. At the end of Main Street, it's just not going to terminate, correct?
Yeah, the road will end. I'm sure there'll be some construction fencing up as we start the other phases, and I'm sure we could find an extra, those details will be coordinated with
I just
supervisor of public
know the
works.
nature sometimes of people that do. You
Go
would be
off-roading?
surprised that
Yeah,
that can
yeah.
things that you would never expect to happen will.
A gate, possibly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Something to be obvious that they can't, yeah, they're going to know. Okay. All right. Those are my only two questions.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Any additional comments from the side table? No?
Just send any requests to be tabled for the ZBA from March to April,
Okay.
please.
And just an FYI in the signage, I think you should look at that because I think backlit signs you got to get variance for with signs? No?
Not on a wall sign.
Not on a wall sign, okay.
That's purely up to you guys.
Does the
Oh, yeah. So
You
signage would
wanna
be,
make them-
but,
You want to force them to do some sort of goose neck or...
well, that's what we were talking about. That's why I brought this back up. So I guess the other thing too is the signage application is going to be difficult. But you would be able to do it probably for the Starbucks one right now. Because they're going to need to do a signage application, right?
Yes. It was the difficult aspect I was struggling with.
Well, because the whole building, that's where I think back to the architectural lighting, we kind of got
As
to.
tenants.
What's that?
As the tenants come in, the sign applications come in.
Correct, but I was getting back to the overall architectural features, right? And the lighting. So that's where I think, the Starbucks one, cool, but we still got to talk about that and make sure that it's, you've got to submit for that signage permit anyways, and we should be looking at that and thinking about it as a whole thing, not separately, so that we're all on the same page.
How about the monuments?
Yeah, we'll make that a priority.
Separate application.
Monument sign is a separate application. That would go to the AAC individually. Will we make that part of site one plan approval? If you want, you can.
Yeah. Where would the,
Based on, but you're gonna have to give concepts to me first, so I can assess what variances you're gonna need. Because more than likely we need a variance.
because there's not one on here now, right?
Yeah.
Well, there is. It's
Oh, graphic.
Town, I only think the basis, the only thing left, is that gone
That's,
too?
yeah, that would be, now the base is there, but that would be the area that we would
Right.
probably fully
So we'd want to dive into that one sooner rather than later, too.
Make that priority.
Yeah, I mean, so the monument sign, just say it out loud now because you're here, is we're going to want the building materials to be replicated or, the aesthetic to be replicated. Simple, right? Keep it simple. Look at those lighting requirements and then the size requirements are in the zoning, what you can or can't exceed for square footage, right?
It's 16 square feet, 32 total.
So if it's double-sided-
Going for one in another part of Chapel, so.
The Berkeley Place one, that one we just looked at? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so we would just need another drawing like the one you had for that one, with a little more detail.
We spoke with Frank about it tonight before he left. So we're going to work on that. I do have a question. Most of the site, the existing site, has a lot of pavement over top of it. When you do phase one, are you going to go through and strip the pavement off the entire site or just in phase one area?
Yeah.
Leave as much as we can.
Yeah, we'll put the limited disturbance in the demo plan for phase one, and we would just have to remove what's in that limited disturbance. We're structured our stormwater report so that we got most of our GI credits done right now where we had the green space plan for. And then, the existing impervious that's on site in those areas for the future development, we would take that water quality credits and, basically, use the redevelopment structure with the DEC to do that plan. And then as, parcels get added in there, also impervious, we would utilize something similar. So that's all spelled out in the SWIP report.
One thing you mentioned in addition to one point John said up there regarding the blocking off into the street, all of that's going to be paved. You need some type of separation between the new pavement and all the old pavements. So we're just going off the road onto the old pavement and trying to go down to the Memorial Front driveway. You've got to put up some barriers and something to prevent that.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Go ahead. Okay. Trevor, just a reminder, you haven't heard from Monroe County Soil, CSX, DEC, and who else?
Army Corps of Engineers, Army Corps, yeah.
Thank you.
And that expires, I believe, in 2 days, and at that point, if they don't respond, then planning board is lead agent.
Correct.
My question was centered around the dumpsters. They're located on what is to be the parcel.
Yeah, there'll be a reciprocal access easement, and basically all the parcels will be entered into a reciprocal access and parking easement, and that'll cover things like trash pickup and that type of stuff.
Will all the parcels fall under one ownership, one LLC? Right now, I believe we've got two working there.
I don't have the answer to that right now.
Okay.
We would prepare, reciprocal access easement language so that everybody can drive on everybody's property and use the parking and stuff.
Okay.
But that wouldn't come into play until after the next phase?
Well, no, it would. So Lot 1 and Lot 2 would enter into reciprocal access agreements together, and then as Lot 2 gets subdivided, that deed would carry over, I think, or as the subdivision happens, lawyers will make sure that everything's covered in that regard.
Anything else, Paul?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any public comments? Public comment remained open. It will remain open for the next meeting. So with that, any other questions or discussion? If not, we'll make, you already made the motion. You've already requested the table, so I'll make the motion to accept his request to table the application to the next meeting.
Second.
Yes.
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 I also vote yes. We'll see you next month.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Planning Board.
You're welcome. Have a nice night. Yep. Next application is for discussion items only, is Fitzgerald Engineering, Robert Fitzgerald, P.E., 277 Alexander Street, Rochester, New York, 14607, The James Group, Inc., James Perna, P.O. Box 418, North Charlotte, New York, 14514, owner. For subdivision of one lot into 42 single-family parcels to be known as Paul Road subdivision. Property located at 1161 Paul Road in the R120 district.
Good evening. With me tonight is Jimmy Perna and Jamie Valerio, as well as Mary. They have a 45-acre parcel on Paul Road. To the northeast is a subdivision that they did called the Chestnut subdivision. Other subdivisions they've done is the Springbrook subdivision off King Road, as well as Wellington down the street further on Chile Ave. So they're very familiar with developing in our local community here. They have a 45-acre parcel, like I said, in the south side of Paul Road, and they're looking to put in some single-family homes. It's zoned R120, which is 100-foot wide lots, 20,000 square feet. We went back and forth, do we rezone this, do a PRD or a PUD or something like that to get more density? At this point, we kind of want to just go with the zoning. It's kind of unique. The size of the lots, right now, a large subdivision is being developed on Beaver Road by Faber Homes. Those are kind of smaller lots, a very nice subdivision, but I think the lots are 65 to 70-foot wide lots, so this is something different, a different option for people to build upon. We have all utilities at the site, sanitary sewers at the south. We have public water, a new water line that just got put in along Paul Road. And then, of course, we'd have to do stormwater infrastructure. But yeah, at this point, we just kind of want to introduce this potential project to the board. Just have a gut reaction before we move too far forward with it. We did receive some comments from the town engineer. They were good. We just had a couple lots we had to rework a little bit. We're just shy on the 20,000 square feet. Again, it's concept, so we're just trying to get something in front of this board kind of at the last minute just to get some feedback. And there's some cul-de-sacs that need to be enlarged a little bit as well. I think we have the actual size of the asphalt okay, but we just need to enlarge the right-of-way. But really just things we can, at this point, it's not a lot of comments from the town engineer, but certainly things we can work through moving forward. Guys, do you want to jump in?
James Perna, 26 Florentine Way. Good evening. This is going to be upper scale housing, 500,000 and up, similar to what we did on St. Christopher's Way, and I really think there's a need for it. We have a lot of demand for that, and that's what we decided to do with this piece. Instead of coming in with PRD and stuff like that, we don't want to build small houses, just large houses.
Thank you. Joe, any questions, comments? Yeah?
Nothing right now.
Do you have a timeline on when you'll be coming back or when you wanted to move forward?
I'd like to come back as soon as possible, as soon as we're ready to go
Okay.
for
all right.
for preliminary.
All right. Couple things. I noticed you are reaching out for utilities, et cetera. Have you reached out to determine it's going to be natural gas in there? Electricity?
Yeah,
obviously.
get natural gas, yeah.
You've reached out to make sure that they have sufficient
If they let us have it,
ability? Okay.
if they're like this right now.
All right.
If not, we're going to have to go electric with heat pumps, but
Okay.
it's the way it is.
Also, the site distance on Paul Road, I assume the lot 1157 Paul Road of Gregory and Gay, Brandy Huff is going to remain? That house and that lot will remain there?
At this point, that's the way
Okay.
we're moving forward.
Okay. Then the roadway, just as it enters Paul Road, if you could provide, when you come back, a site distance calculation for people leaving Paul, whatever the name of that new street is going to be?
Yep.
Onto Paul Road?
Certainly.
And eastbound on Paul Road coming over the expressway? So I know there's a guardrail and a barrier there that people have to look around in order to be able to see traffic clearly.
Right.
So just provide that site distance so we have that when we take a look at the overall plan. I think the engineer gave you some high-level comments already. We'll be reviewing this again. This didn't come in before our last DRC, so we'll be looking at it, and we'll provide probably additional comments, via email. The town will anyways after our DRC meeting, after the town engineer has an opportunity to look at it in a little more detail. That's all I have. Keith?
I was looking at the plan, and it abuts the right-of-way on I-490, I mean, for these types of houses, is some type of screening going to be planned behind those lots, or is it going to remain open to the highway, or you have a kind of a concept of what you might do there?
Go ahead. No.
490 is like 10 foot below us, and there's also, right now, there's a natural buffer there that I want to leave. I don't want to take any of that out. As we get down below, we might have to plant some trees or, Christmas trees or something at the bottom. I'm not sure.
No, I understand. I just wondered, is this the noise and,
Yeah.
just in the general neighborhood behind, but
Right.
there were some thoughts behind
Yeah,
it.
I'm James Valerio. I'm one of the principals of the company. I live at 43 Da Vinci Drive in Chile. We've built a lot of communities in Chile. Guys like Mike and John know we've been here many times over the years, some 40-some years now. Every time we build a community that butts up to a highway or anything that would be of consequence to the people living there, we've either done trees or berms. We did the 200-lot Chestnut community across the road, and if you drive down the highway, you can see we built quite a beautiful buffer there. It's become very mature over the years. It's very nice. And
Yeah,
people that live-
so, because I drive that way
Right, you
all
see
the
it.
time, and when I saw
See
this
it.
come up, I kind of what the site area was, just kind of envisioned. That was one of the things kind of popped into my head.
Sure,
That was-
it's one of the first things we think about. And I'd also like to add that, we've been doing this for a lot of years. Jim and I we're 70-something, okay? After 46 years of doing this, we have this one beautiful piece of land here and lands to the east of it. We're exploring options. I don't want to mislead you. We'd love to build these homes. They'd love them to be the upper end. Anything that gets built here, it'll be to our standards, which have always been the highest construction standards and the highest aesthetic appeal standards. But we may not be the only builder there, and we may not be, because the market is changing, and so I don't want to mislead you and think that we're going to be necessarily 100% builder. And when we give you a timeline also, the market determines that too. Time is money, but on the other hand, right now we're here to discuss it. We have some issues we have to overcome, and this is almost a perfect piece of land. The sewer's at the bottom of the hill. Everything's perfect except for, of course, we have to deal with the site distance, but we're going to work on that. But I think that I don't want to mislead you to think that we're going to rush into this and we're going to grow great guns like we have in the past. We've built 50 homes a year. Those days are gone. I think it's going to go a little slower than that. And again, it could be some other builders involved. We're looking at all the options.
Okay, thank you. Hans?
I'm curious, what side of Powell Road from 490 is this? On the east or the west side?
The east side.
The east side, okay.
North or south?
Yeah, it's,
North or south, not an east or west.
Well,
Turn your chair.
yeah. Yeah, but if you're looking at it, is it the east side of 490 or the west side of 490?
Southeast.
Thank you.
Southeast.
It helps.
I just want to point out one thing too, kind of probably be two phases. Naturally, just kind of build the first street in what we cul-de-sac, so we're not doing any temporary turnarounds. Then the second phase would be the second cul-de-sac. That works with utilities as well. So that'd be about 20 lots per phase, which is,
Sure.
you're not overextending too much for infrastructure, still quite a bit, obviously.
So come in for preliminary and then come in, as you develop the other phase, come in for final for that?
Yeah, we would typically come in for preliminary approval for everything to make sure all the infrastructure works, and then final for phase one. And then
Okay.
come back for final for phase two in the future.
Good. Hans, any other
I'm
questions?
good, I'm good.
Mike,
I'm good.
Mike, any other comments?
Not at this time.
Paul? Matt? Nothing? Okay. As I said, we will be reviewing this further at our next DRC. We'll give you any comments. We'll make sure we send those off to you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. Last business is the meeting minutes to accept the meeting minutes from our February meeting. Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes.
Make a motion.
Second? Did you second?
Yeah, second. Second the motion. I don't know who I mean.
I'll abstain because I wasn't here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
I also
Yeah.
vote yes. Any other business? Meeting's adjourned.